My sister hates me and I don't know why. I female, 17 have always had a strange relationship with my sister 21. I feel like the hatred started around when I was 12 to 13 years old. To give an idea, it started off with smaller things like name calling, conceited, spoiled, selfish etc. But no big deal, all sisters do that, until it got to the point where she tried to physically fight me a few times. I remember a few times she chased me around the house because she wanted to beat me up, as she said. If my parents weren't home, my other older sister would try to keep her away from me and I'd have to lock myself in a room to keep safe. She's also old enough to know at this point how messed up she's acting. I remember waking up once to hear her screaming about me to my mom. It was bad screaming, like she was almost sobbing. She was basically just saying how she hated me and she was listing all the things she hated about me. She made fun of my hair, face, walk, style, voice. She liked nothing about me. I wasn't even able to listen to music without her telling me I had terrible taste. I couldn't do makeup near her or she'd start whispering insults about me to someone. She knew I could hear them. Even if we didn't speak to each other, she had an undertone of hatred in her eyes when she looked at me. Her eyes were black and filled with rage and her nose would snarl and her jaw would come a bit unhinged if anyone mentioned me to her or if I said something to anyone. She didn't want to hear my voice or acknowledge my existence. As we got a bit older, things calmed down. Our family moved towns, she got a job and a boyfriend, I made friends and was having a great time in school. We slowly got a bit closer and okay with each other. So I thought. Apparently it was different on her side. I found out she was sharing all of our family business to her BF. I mean all of it. Extremely personal things we would vouch to never share about each other. How did I know this? Because her BF told me. He'd mention details about our lives and I'd say, why do you know that? And he said, in return your sister tells me everything. How great! Our relationship started failing again. She would try to embarrass me in front of friends, sharing my personal insecurities and being two-faced with me. She also shared my sexuality with everyone, which is something I specifically asked her not to do. My parents are homophobic and they don't know that I'm bi, so she always throws hints to my parents even when I beg her to stop. She doesn't do that to my other sister, who is also hiding her sexual identity. This hurt like hell because I thought we were getting closer and bonding like I always wanted. Nope. Not at all. There was a specific time where she said something that still doesn't sit right with me today. I'll give a bit of a backstory. When I was 14, my older sisters had a friend group with two neighbors and themselves. First guy, I'll call Chris 23, second guy, I'll call Tim 28. They were both chill stoner dudes, not who I would befriend, but that was both my sister's choice. Anyway, I got invited to hang out with all of them and we basically had a little friend group. We had a group chat on Snap and it was fun while it lasted, but I know looking back that I shouldn't have been in an older friend group at such a young age. Unfortunately, Chris started private messaging me, which I thought was weird, so I told my sisters about it. My other older sister, 16 at this time, was more supportive than the sister I've been discussing in this post. Shocker. Anyway, he messages me more and more, things like movie recommendations, morning and good night messages, sending pics with funny filters and also bitching about his fiancée. Yeah, I know, bad. I may have been naive and gullible at 14, but I wasn't dumb enough to let a 23-year-old man groom me. We all saw it coming. He finally admitted he had a crush on me and wanted to be more than friends. What a psycho! We all blocked him immediately, including Tim. Another story that plays into what I'm about to tell you happened when I was 14. This happened after the situation with Chris. My other sister 16, not the mean one, got a boyfriend. Her boyfriend did this thing where he would take us all out to get to know us because he wanted a relationship with my sister and her family. Sounds sweet, but it wasn't. He took me out for lunch and shopping, but he decided to make a sexual comment to me. He asked me if I had underwear on under my dress. I was dumbfounded at this question and was just ready to go home. I immediately told my sister and everyone else. This didn't bother her too much. They stayed together for another year, but I distanced myself a lot from them. Whatever, I had to move on. Anyway, the way this plays into the story. My sister, the mean one, was on the phone with her BF and I was using a jaw strengthener which my doctor told me to use because my jaw is weak and cracks a lot, so blah blah blah. It's like a tiny piece of rubber you chew on. It helps NGL. My sister looked at me and told her boyfriend I had a gag in my mouth and he started laughing and I felt disgusted. 1. It looked nothing like a gag, and 2. Why would she say that? I waited till she got off the phone and I said, please don't make sexual jokes about me like that, especially to your boyfriend, it's kind of weird. And of course she started cussing at me and telling me I can't take a joke, and I said it's weird and he shouldn't be laughing at that either, and she says, what? Do you think he's sexualizing you now? And I was just shocked she would say that. I felt like she completely dismissed the problems I've had with men sexualizing me. It felt like she was trying to say I made it up. My other sister was also shocked. I saw her jaw drop because she knew how deeply those things affected me. To be sexualized at such a young age is almost traumatizing, and to have your own sister imply that none of what was said to me was sexual and it was just in my head. This completely changed my view on her. I was willing to still try and love her, but now I was done. She said to me, you think everyone wants you because you're a conceited bitch. Maybe my parents spoil me and I can expect a lot at times, but I always try to be a good person, and no, I don't think everyone wants me. A while after this, her boyfriend broke up with her, he cheated, and dropped her. Can't say I'm sorry, but I was there for her. I'm her sister after all. We got into another fight last night. The first really bad one we've had in a while. I just started my first job and my mom told me that my sister said about me, is she gonna start paying for her own shit now? Well, yes, I am. I already pay for makeup and clothing, but my parents take care of necessities like food, deodorants, shampoos, YK, that kind of thing, but we take turns since I'm still a minor. Sometimes I pay with all my saved up birthday and Christmas money, and sometimes my parents do. I'm careful with money, but I won't let my parents spend money on things I just want and don't need. I don't see a problem with that, but my sister does. I'm trying to save for college, but I'm also working my ass off in school RN, so I can't hold too many shifts ATM, and my parents understand that and they really want me to focus on school and get my diploma. My sister dropped out in high school, her own choice, no one told her to. And she hates that I'm still in high school. She thinks it's not fair that she dropped out and my parents are still paying for me to go to a private school. Basically, she's saying I shouldn't have an education because she doesn't. I told her it's because I want to finish high school and get an education. She didn't. She didn't get what she didn't want. I am. My sister still lives at my parents'. She's 21, no job, no GED, and no plans, but she judges me for everything I do. She once told me that I'll be 30 and still living with my parents. Real nice. Please let me know if I'm being dramatic or if this sounds like genuine hatred. Thanks for reading my story if you've made it this far.